So you've been working real hard on guitar, practicing your scales, learning how to apply them, but you feel like your solos still don't sound like what you're hearing in your head. So this video is going to work on 4 ways to improve your guitar solos instantly. We're going to look at ways you can change your mindset and change how you hear things. Real basic stuff that can help you right away. So let's dive right in. So what are some ways that we can change how we think about guitar soloing? This is whether we're going to be writing out solos or improvising. The very first thing I always think about when I'm writing a solo or improvising one is vibe. So basic, but it takes just a second to really decide on what kind of vibe we want to have. So whether I'm making a solo for a backing track, playing with the band, or doing a recording session, the first thing I'll do is listen. So it seems so obvious, but all too often we're focused on what scales to use, the chords, just basically stuck inside our heads. So we need to just pause and take a second to listen to what we're playing to so that we can get the vibe of what they're doing, and if we want, try to match it. Maybe we want to do a different vibe, but we need to first listen to hear the vibe of what we're playing to. And then the second thing is we need to decide. Do we want to match that vibe? Do we want to create our own vibe? So we need to get the vibe by first listening and then deciding what it is we want to do. Next important thing we can do, so obvious, but repetition. All too often we're just playing new stuff constantly. It's the most common thing when you hear someone refer to their playing as noodling. They don't sound like they're going anywhere. They need repetition in there. So we crave it as humans, animals, and nature. There's just repetition everywhere. So we need to put that into our guitar solos, whether we're writing it out or improvising it. Repetition. How do we get some repetition? Well, we recycle. So take an idea and just use it again. Keep using it. Maybe develop it, but you can even just straight up repeat it. It sounds like, oh, we already did that. We're going to do something new. But we want to hear something familiar so that the listener has something to go off of. We're telling a story. We're not just rambling on. So another way of getting good repetition is to have a little bit of a flashback. It's basically the same idea of recycling, but something from much earlier. So maybe you play a phrase at the beginning of a solo, and at the very end, you play that same phrase again, or maybe it's up an octave, a little bit developed in some sort of way, but have flashbacks or something from history, from back in the past. So our third tip that we can do is focus on rhythm. Again, basic stuff here, nothing new. We all know about rhythm, of course, but how often do we really focus on rhythm, particularly in our solos? We often think of rhythm playing, oh, you're playing rhythm then, and then solos, you're just playing these freewheeling kind of melodies and flashy stuff, but why not focus a lot on the rhythm? And we can do that by adding rhythmic variety, so don't just play the same thing over and over, although we do want to, of course, recycle ideas and have repetition, but we also want to have some variety too, so you're not just using the same type of rhythms throughout the whole solo. And we also want to have some variety by developing that. So we want to have a rhythm that we play, and then we develop it and build off it, just like we would with a melody as well. So don't forget about rhythm. We can change our solos so drastically by just focusing a lot on rhythm. And the last way we can instantly change our solos is a big one that's so simple but so often overlooked, is dynamics. So don't just play cranked the whole time. If that's what you want to do and that's the vibe that you're going for, certainly, but let's not do it for every single solo. Let's maybe sometimes start our solos quiet. So if you're playing with the band, just listen for a moment as your solo section starts. Come in a little quiet. See if you can get them to listen to you and match you, and maybe even bring them down even further, and that'll give you a lot of space to grow. Now, that again is if it's the right situation, the right vibe. If it's a real fast, loud song, you might want to kind of come out guns blazing and really rip a solo right away too. So it all depends on the vibe and what you decide you want to do too. So if we do start our solos really quiet, that gives us room to then build it to create excitement, so we can get really loud, and it's going to be so different if you're just loud the whole time. So to recap everything we looked at, we've got vibe, repetition, rhythm, and dynamics. 4 very basic, easy things. We can certainly practice these things, but you don't even have to have an impact on your solos. If you're just aware of those, you listen to those when you hear other people's solo, kind of listen to what kind of vibe are they putting out. You're like, oh, I like this. What's going on? Or listen for the repetition. What kind of rhythms are they using? Are they repeating them? Are they developing them? And their dynamics. Are they playing the same volume the whole time? Are they quiet, loud? Are they going kind of up and down in waves? But listen to that stuff and try to implement that stuff into your own playing. It certainly, again, things you can practice, but you don't even have to. If you're just kind of aware of it, it can instantly change your stuff and get us out of our heads about thinking about too much of the nuts and bolts of kind of what scales and what chords and all this stuff that works. So just work on that, and let me know in the comments down below, what kind of stuff do you do that you find helps with your soloing that can kind of change your mindset. So good luck and take care.